karataleena patapatangam madhyam visadat brihatstanabhara bhitam shanteva drishtir amala shushika samoha नैकत्रते जयति शालिनि पादपद्मं नन्त्या मुहुः करतलेन पतत्पतङ्गं मध्यं विषीदति बृहत्स्तनभारभीतं शान्त्येव दृष्टिरमलशुशिखः समूहः नैकत्रते जयति शालिनि पादपद्मं नन्त्या मुहुः करतलेन पतत्पतङ्गं मध्यं विषीदति बृहत्स्तनभारभीतं शान्त्येव दृष्टिरमला शुशिखः समूहा Synonyms: na, not, ekatra, in one place, te, your, jayati, stay, shalini, O beautiful woman, pada padmam, lotus feet, nantyaha, striking, muhuhu, again and again, karatalena, by the palm of the hand, patat, bouncing, patangam, the ball, madhyam, waist, vishidati, gets fatigued, brihat, full grown, sthana, of your breasts, bhara, by the weight, bhitam, oppressed, shanta iva, as if fatigued, drishtihi, vision, amala, clear, su, beautiful, shikha, your hair, samuhaha, bunch. Translation unputtered by His Divine Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: O beautiful woman, when you strike the bouncing ball against the ground with your hand again and again, your lotus feet do not stay in one place. Oppressed by the weight of your full-grown breasts, your waist becomes fatigued and your clear vision grows dull. As it were, pray braid your comely hair. Purport: the demons observed beautiful gestures in the woman's every step. Here they praise her full-grown breasts, her scattered hair, and her movements in stepping forward and backward while playing with the ball. In every step, they enjoy her womanly beauty, and while they enjoy her beauty, their minds become agitated by sex desire. As moths at night surround a fire and are killed, so the demons become victims of the movements of the ball-like breasts of a beautiful woman. The scattered hair of a beautiful woman also afflicts the heart of a lusty man. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurau Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Guram Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नैकत्रते जयति शालिनि पादपद्मं गन्थ्या नन्थ्या मुहुः करतलेन पतत्पतंगम मध्यम विषीदति बृहत्स्तनभारभीतं शान्तेव दृष्टिरमला शुशिखा समूहः. So from the buttocks of Lord Brahma, these demons were created. So right after coming out, they were in the mode of passion, a deep passion or mode of ignorance, and they started attacking Lord Brahma for sexual pleasure. So that was the quality of these demons who came out of the buttocks, asuras or demons. So somehow at the beginning, Brahmaji thought that they may not affect him, but eventually he ran off, not to deal with the personalities in that mode of passion. So he ran, and Lord suggests him to cast off that body or that mentality of that creation which he had created. So the moment Lord Brahma casts off that mentality, that or that body, that took a form of a beautiful woman. So after seeing a beautiful woman, these demons started praising her, right? If we go back, that body of the Lord Brahma took a form of a twilight, and that twilight is in the form of a beautiful woman. And the 34, if you see, they started asking questions to that beautiful woman, like, who are you, oh pretty girl, and all those questions, like, they're trying to appreciate, and they are um, appreciating the beauty of that woman. And in the previous verse, it shows that she was playing with a ball. While playing with a ball, you have agitated the minds of all onlookers. And in this verse, they are talking about the bodily features of that woman. So there are different levels. From this, we can understand that there are different type of people, different uh, afflicted by the modes of nature, like mode of goodness. Some are in the mode of goodness, some are in the mode of passion, some are in the mode of ignorance. So depending upon the modes they are living in, these modes are these are not black and white modes, like, goodness. If someone is in goodness, he is completely in goodness. If someone is in passion, it is not that he's completely in passion, or is not completely in ignorance. So there is a combination of modes also. Depending upon these combinations of different types of modes, the nature or the reaction, as we seen the example I have told previously also, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu quotes nicely. Let's say there is a situation, there are different people sitting in a bus, and the bus suddenly breaks and stops at one point. Now, when you see outside, in a beautiful location, let's say bus is going and it breaks, and the beauty of that outside of that area was very beautiful. Let's say the the person in the mode of goodness, he thinks that, wow, what a beauty it is. I can go and read. He was reading the book in the bus, and he may think that if I can get a chance, I can go there in that location and sit there and read my book without disturbance. That is a thought which the mode of goodness person will have. But the mode of ignorance person will think that, oh, if I get mode of passion will think that, I may make money out of it. I can go sell or do some business and make money out of it, or any kind of passion thought he'll get. But if in the mode of the person in the mode of ignorance will think that, wow, what would have enjoyed it with my girlfriend if she's there, or maybe I would have gone through the, like, for the pleasure. He thinks about the pleasure in that situation. So the condition is same. The situation, the scenery, or the scene is same for everyone, all of them, but the thought process, but the thinking of the people is different. In the similar way here, there are the situation, if these demons were put in a situation where they're in the mode of deep passion, that they're thinking about the bodily features of the woman. If the same situation is put for the person in the mode of goodness, he may have good thoughts, right? In Taittiriya Upanishad, it says that the sexual pleasure is different for different personalities or different levels of the personalities. For example, if the living beings in the higher planetary systems, like um, Apsaras or Gandharvas or Devas or the Brahma, if you take, the sexual pleasure is different in them. For example, um, Apsaras, they perform the dances to enjoy that pleasure. There is no physical uh, uh, There is nothing physical in there. Like it's about enjoying the dances. And for the Gandharvas, it's about singing. They sing nicely and they fulfill the pleasure. And in the that's all subtle, right? And like how can you explain that? For example, there are many places we know that when we eat, we excrete through our, it's a physical form for us, like, we have to excrete. But for that higher planetary beings, when they eat, the excreta is not to the physical form, it's subtle, it just evaporates in the air, right? In the similar way, the sexual pressure also, Lord Brahma's level, I think it's all about intellectual, it's not about physically mating or something like that. But if we take the other side, the lower planetary beings, there is an example that there is an insect called as praying mantis. Praying mantis is an insect which I think belongs to the grasshopper family, right? It's a green color insect. So what happens is, after mating, the female bites off the head of a male praying mantis. So that is a level. There are different people, different levels, different things, right? Now the question comes, what the question comes is that why all these descriptions, too much of description about sex and humans, women's body descriptions in the Amala Puran, the Purana, which is pure, like Srimad Bhagavatam, right? That is a question that may ponder us. But there are different type of people, right? So there are different type of people, different qualities, and this Amala Puran is a Puran for the human beings, and these are the kind of mentalities human beings carry, we carry, and for us to point out, okay, this is the problem you have, and this is a solution you have. So that's why they go deep. It's not like Srimad Bhagavatam is not a Purana which will give the higher picture. Oh, everything is good. You just chant and be happy. Not like that. It goes deep into the problems. It explains, okay, this is the problem we live in. This is the problem we can face. This is the problem that can happen to anyone. So better be prepared. So Amala Puran, like Srimad Bhagavatam, gives goes in deep into the such a level that it gives the mental perspective, the mentality of the human beings, mentality of the living entities. And it digs from there. It shows, it zooms into that level and gives a solution for the problems, right? So that's what Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport here. As the moths at night surround a fire and are killed by demons, okay? So the demons become victims of the movements of the ball like breasts of a beautiful woman, the scattered hair. So this is the mentality of the demons. This is the mentality of living entities, where we think about the um, bodily features of the woman. And there is nothing wrong in explaining this stuff to make understand the living entity's position in this world, right? So if you see who are speaking these words, what are these words, and these verses, the words in these verses are spoken by, especially this Bhagavatam was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. If we go back and understand and analyze the life of Sukadeva Goswami, we can understand what is the level of consciousness that personality has. Like if you remember, um, Sukadeva Goswami was in the mother's womb for 16 years. He didn't want to come out. He said that the moment I comes out, Maya will attack me. This is the nature of this material world. The nature of the material world is the moment you takes birth in this material world, Maya will completely capture you and delude you to act according to this, or to act according to these modes of nature. Then of 16 years, Dvaipayana was his father, and Lord Krishna himself promised that you will not get affected with the material nature, or with the illusions of the Maya here. Then he came out of mother's womb and he started running away. He walked out of the, he never had any attachment to his, I mean, he didn't have an attachment to his father or mother, and he started running away. So um so his father followed him, right? His father followed him. Um, while Vasudeva was following Sukadeva Goswami traveling through to the forest, there were some princesses or some girls who were taking bath in the pond. They knew that Sukadeva Goswami is so renounced. They didn't care to cover themselves. They're taking shower naked, but um, they didn't care to cover their bodies, because they knew by birth itself, they knew that because he was there in the mother's womb for 16 years, they never cared to cover it. That's the level of consciousness, or they knew that Sukadeva Goswami is so much renounced in his life, and he didn't come back. Then Vasudev had to do so many. He sent his disciples um, and asked him to catch or find his son. Like, Vasudev, father of Sukadeva Goswami, arranged some of his disciples to go find Sukadeva Goswami in the forest. So, what was the instruction for these disciples that was provided? So, Vasudev said that whenever you see, or you just go in the forest and keep singing these two verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. So, what are those two verses? Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam jigam shayapayad apyasadvi lebhe gatim dhatri uchitam tatonyam kamba dhayalum sharanam rajema. So, this verse says that, alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she demon, Putana, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breasts. So this verse explains the beauty um, or the nature of the Lord. So Aho Bakiyam. So Bakhi is a Putana, sister of Bakasura. Sister of Bakasura is Bakhi. So that is Putana. Putana had poisoned breasts. She filled poison in her breasts, and she tried to kill Krishna by feeding that milk from her breasts. But Krishna, even though after killing her, he gave the position of mother, right? That kind of Lebe Gatim Datri. Datri is a mother. So he gave them position of mother to that person who came to kill you. That is the quality of and nature of that Krishna. Okay, that is the first verse they were singing. And the second verse they were talking about is Barha Pidam Natavaravapu Karnayo Karnikaram Bibhradvasakanaka Kapisham Vajayantim Chamalam Randran Veno Radara Sudaya Purayan Goparindher Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishad Kita Kirtihi. So this verse from 10th canto. It explains the entry of the Lord into the forest, into Vrindavana. So it explains that Barha Pidam Natavara Vapuhu. It explains the beautiful features of the Lord. The Barha Pidam, Lord has a peacock feather on his head. Right? He decked his head with a hair with the peacock feather, and he has a beautiful um, wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnika flowers on his ear. He has a blue karnika flower in the ear, below the ears, right? A yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vaijayanti garland. God carries a Vaijayanti mala. Oh, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavana, beautifying it with marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. So, just by seeing all these features, the cowherd boys started glorifying the Lord. So, these are the two verses which Vasudev has asked his disciples to recite. Right? Ahobakiyam Yam Sthana Khala Kutam. So Khala Kutam, the poison was filled on the breasts of Putana, and she tried to um, feed that milk to Lord Krishna. So so by hearing these two verses, Sukadeva Goswami got intrigued. He said that, who is that personality? Who is that great personality who can come back? I mean, who can give the mother's position for a person who came to kill him? So he got very much attracted by these verses, these two verses. And he asked the disciples of Lord Vasudev, okay, who are they? I mean, like, where did you get these verses from? They said that there is some Rishi called as Vasudev, and he is the one who, we are the disciples of Vasudev, and he has written something called as Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam, you have all the stories. Then Sukadeva Goswami came back to his father to learn or talk about or to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Vasudev. So that is the position of Vasudev. He gave up the whole, first of all, he didn't come out of his mother for 16 years, right? And then he went away just by hearing the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. He got attracted to the personal features of the Lord, and he got attracted to the nature of the Lord, and he came back. So that great personality who is not attached to this material world, right? That person is speaking these verses, the verses we're discussing today, about the demons, about the sex life. So we see there are questions, like so many people may have the question that why the sex is used so deeply or so much time, so many times, why the expressions have to be done so deeply. So if you see the personality, he has no interest there. He wanted to get us to the reality. It's a reality check for us. Srimad Bhagavatam is it shows you the questions. It answers the questions. It points out the problem and gives a solution to that problem. Right? That is the personality, Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Okay, let's say, are the listeners interested in this kind of topics? Let's see who is a listener. The main listener, the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken for Parikshit Maharaj. What is the quality of a Parikshit Maharaj? Parikshit Maharaj is a grandson of Arjuna, right? Son of Abhimanyu, grandson of Arjuna. When he was in his mother's womb, Uttara's womb, Ashwathama has released Brahmastra to kill that baby Parikshit in the womb itself. That was so bad. And he got the darshan of Lord Krishna. Lord appeared in front of him and protected him from Brahmastra. Who can stop? I mean, who can kill, or what kind of weapon can affect Krishna, right? So Krishna, Lord was right there, present in the womb of Uttara, and he protected that womb, that baby, and the same baby is Parikshit Maharaj. He came out and he ruled the kingdom very nicely, beautifully for years, and he countered, or he stopped Kali. Kali is a time, no one can stop Kali, but he had tried, I mean, he tried to stop Kali. He punished Kali to not enter in this age. But what to do? Like, now the time is time. He requested some places and he got influenced by that Kali. That's a different story. But that is the quality of Parikshit Maharaj. So now Parikshit Maharaj, what is the situation of him? He got a curse that he will die in 7 days. A person dying in 7 days, what kind of interest will he have in the sex life? What kind of interest he will show for such topics, right? But the discussion is about the sex life here. It's not for the Parikshit Maharaj, it's not for the Sukadeva Goswami, it's to point out the problems in this material world. It's to point out where we stand as a living entity, where we stand in this material world, right? So that's where we got these topics discussed. So if you see, the listeners, one of the main listeners is Parikshit Maharaj, but there were all demigods sitting there, right? Narada Muni was there. Who is Narada Muni? Narada Muni is a brahmachari. He has nothing to do with this material world. He's listening to these verses. He's listening to all the conversation. There are so many other greater personalities in this in that assembly. There are like, it says that everyone from this universe, all the demigods from different planets, Apsaras, Gandharvas, everyone is sitting there listening to this katha, right? So that is the situation they were in. But the discussion, what's the discussion happening? The discussion that is happening is about the sex life in this material world. And that has to be discussed. That has to be discussed to point out the problems in this world. So we should never think that, oh, this is a Amala Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam. They say it's pure, but why the topics are discussed in such a detail? These are discussed to point out the problems in this world, and we'll encounter in multiple levels, in different stages. We get to this point of sex, points regarding sex in this Purana, because to point our weaknesses or problems. So that is what we consider here. Okay, we should take it that way, and we should accept it wholeheartedly without questioning, because this is Amala Puran. The speaker we spoke about is a great personality, and the listener is also a great personality. The host, and also the all other listeners who are present there are great personalities, and we should not have that mentality of looking down towards Srimad Bhagavatam, or we should not feel shy to discuss, because it's been discussed in different levels for the benefit of the living entities only. So that being said, there are many points where we get into where we come across in during this Srimad Bhagavatam, where Sukadeva Goswami goes deep into the subject. He talks at different levels to make us understand our position, to make us understand what are the position of different, like, as I said, an example in Taittiriya Upanishad, there are different living entities. They live in different planetary systems, right? There the sex life is different. For example, it says that the higher planetary systems, when they involve in sex life physically, that means that is the end of their life. At the time of the end of their life, they physically involve, and they'll fall down. They have the vision of them falling down, and they fall down to an area where the lower living entities, they eat their body away. That is a description they gave. So when the living entities from the higher planetary systems, they involve in the physical activity, they fall down. That is the end of their life. That is the end of their punya. That is the, so you approach that heavenly planets because you have some piety there. You had some piety. So that is the end of that piety. When the piety ends, you involve in that physical activity and you fall down. When you fall down, in front of you only you'll see the pleasures that is happening in the heavenly planets, but you don't have that capability to enjoy the pleasures. You fall down, you keep seeing that, and you will be eaten away by the lower living entities. And by seeing that, the tears from that living entity falls down right from the body, and that through the tears, the soul with the subtle body will travel out, or mixes with the water, and that water comes as a rain, and that rain goes into that. Rain is a reason for the grains, and the grain will be eaten by the human, and again they take birth in the earthly planets. So that is the transformation. So that's why the explanations are there, descriptions are there. Only the lesson from this verse is that we should accept it. These explanations are given for our good purpose, for our understanding, and we should accept it and move forward. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah. Thank you, Hari Kishore. I'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead, and I'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Ram Ram.
Shri Nrsingo, Jai Nrsingo, Jai Jai Nrsingo, Praladesha, Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Plingam, Ugra Veeram, Nrsingham Vishnu Bhadram Primitim Namamiham. Nrsinga Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the Samar Vaishnavas. Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Granthar Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Jai Hari 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 Bo.
Prem Kishore Pr.
Thank you everybody. Hari Bo.